Hello everyone, my name is Amber Norgaard. I'm a singer-songwriter and I have the privilege of making music as a full-time career. Prior to me becoming a singer-songwriter, I was a nurse. And strangely enough, being a nurse is what led me to becoming a musician. And today I'm going to talk to you about that connection. When I was going to college to become a nurse, I worked as a CNA, or Certified Nursing Assistant, in a nursing home. And it was there that I first experienced the amazing power of music. One of the residents that I took care of had very progressed Alzheimer's disease. And for confidentiality's sake, I'm gonna call her Alice today. But here is the story of Alice. Alice had Alzheimer's. And for those of you who do not know what Alzheimer's is, it's when the brain's neurons actually lose their connections and the brain cells start to die. In this diagram here, you can see the left side of the brain and how full it looks and healthy. That's a healthy brain. And the right side is what happens when someone has Alzheimer's disease. Parts of the brain start to die and to shrivel up, and as you can see, it's very weak and small looking, and there's a lot of holes in it. This really affects a person's ability to be able to think or remember things and even to communicate. So in Alice's case, it was very progressed and she could not feed herself. She could not go to the bathroom. In fact, she didn't even remember that she had to go to the bathroom. She needed complete care. So one day when I rolled her out to the cafeteria, rolled her wheelchair out to the cafeteria to eat, I pulled her up to the table when I was feeding her, and one of the other nursing assistants said to me, "Amber, when you're finished feeding Alice, pull her up to the piano." There was a piano in the nursing home cafeteria. She said, "Pull Alice up to the piano and just leave her there while you put the rest of the residents back in the rooms." So every day I was in charge of about 20 residents, and I would take them back to their rooms after they ate. So I finished feeding Alice and I wheeled her wheelchair up to the piano, and I just let her sit there right in front of the piano while I took the rest of the residents back to their room. And as I was in the hallway, I all of a sudden started hearing this music coming, and it was perfect piano, and it was this style called ragtime piano. And for those of you that don't know what ragtime piano is it's a popular style of playing that originated back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Ragtime actually came before jazz and before honky-tonk, and it's very syncopated, and it's called ragtime because it has a ragged rhythm. In fact, you may actually have heard some ragtime. Here's a famous song by Scott Joplin. It's called "The Entertainer." In Alice's case, it's probably what she grew up learning how to play. Isn't it amazing that Alice's brain, she could not speak, she could not take care of herself. She had to be completely cared for, almost like she was an infant. Isn't it amazing that Alice's brain somehow, when I pulled her up to the piano to play, that she suddenly, something sparked in there and she was able to play this perfect piano? Well, how did that happen? To help us understand, we need to take a look at the human brain. The brain is one of the last frontiers that scientists are finding out so much amazing information about. And for many years, scientists have argued about what came first, whether humans first developed music or whether they developed language. So, in your opinion, what do you think? Did music come first or did speech come first? Let's think about this. What's the very first thing that a fetus hears and feels when it's inside the womb of its mother? It's mom's heartbeat. Now think about the effect that this constant rhythm has on an unborn baby. Maybe this is why humans crave rhythmic sounds, and humans have this inkling to make rhythmic sounds themselves, because for centuries beyond recorded history, humans have been drumming. In addition to mom's heartbeat, the baby also hears the tone of mom's voice when it's inside the womb. And the baby can't actually hear the words, but they can hear the tone of the voice. And in itself, that voice, that sound is melodic. Think about how you talk and the different ways that you talk, low and high. That's melody. Now think about what the tone of mom's voice might sound like as it's echoing through water. Have you ever been underwater and tried to scream or speak? Think about what that language and that sound vibration in the water sounds like. A fetus inside mom starts to develop hearing at about 6 weeks. And when a baby's 6 weeks, they're smaller than a pea. And by 16 weeks, the baby can start detecting noises. Language in itself is musical. And how you say the words and the tone that you use, it's musical. It's got melody to it. So when a baby is born, they are naturally comforted by rhythmic sounds and melodious tones. In fact, there's research showing that for babies that are born prematurely, playing rhythmic sounds and comforting melodies actually help the baby to sleep longer. Now I want to talk about you. Do you remember when you were a kid and you learned things through singing? For example, did you ever sing the ABCs? I remember when I was a kid and I learned all the capitals of the world through a song. But if someone asked me what capital was the capital of Brazil, I actually had to go in my head through that song to get to the Brazil part to know. So why is it that when we put things to music, it helps us to remember and to learn things? This is a very interesting question. In fact, there are some people who can't speak, but they can sing. There are kids that have autism that can't speak, but yet they can still sing. And this has been recorded for many centuries. In fact, in the late 1800s, there are records that there were kids that could not speak, but yet they could sing words and hum melodies. So what is this magical music thing that actually allows people to communicate through singing when they can't even get words out? Well, to dig deeper into this, we gotta look a little deeper into the brain. When we speak, we use different parts of the brain, but mostly the speaking parts are located in the left side of the brain in two regions. One is called the Broca's area. This area turns your thoughts into speech, all right? And the other one is the Wernicke's area. The Wernicke's area helps you to understand language and to put your words together in meaningful ways and not just gibberish, a bunch of words put together in a gibberish way. So if your Broca's area is actually injured, you may not be able to speak. You can't get the words out, but you could still understand what people are telling you because your Wernicke's area is okay. However, let's switch that around. If your Broca's area was actually okay and your Wernicke's area was injured, then you wouldn't be able to understand language. You could say words, but it would be a sentence that was completely nonsense, that didn't make any sense because you'd just be putting a bunch of words together without any reason to it. So those two areas are very vital in speech. Now, what about singing or listening to music? Do you think that uses the same parts of the brain as language? Well, scientists are learning some amazing things about music and the brain. And one thing they're learning is that when people listen to music, or they play music, or they sing, that their whole brain actually lights up on those brain scans. Now, this is pretty amazing, because when you speak, different parts of your brain light up, but not the whole thing. So with music, there are many, many different areas in your brain that light up all over. When our whole brain is being accessed in different ways, then what happens is we can do more things. We're smarter in a way. So yes, when you listen to music, or when you play music, or make your own music, you're actually lighting up your whole brain and becoming smarter. And in a way, music is medicine. Think about it. When you listen to music, how does it make you feel? Or when you play music, how does it make you feel? Now, different types of music can change our moods. It can make us very energetic, very happy. Some music can make us very sad. Why does music have such control over us? Well, it's because it's accessing so many parts of our brain. I used to go to the children's hospital and play music for the kids who were sick and hospitalized. When I would get there, these kids would be very, very ill and very lethargic or tired, not really engaging with the people around them, just very, very sick. And the moment I would start playing music, all of a sudden their eyes would get bright and they would almost have life again. And every time the parents would be like, my child has been so depressed and just so tired and so sick. I can't believe it's almost like they're back to normal when they hear music. Well, music really is medicine. And there are studies now, there's actual research that shows that music can reduce pain. It can boost your immune system. It can give you more energy. Or it can relax you. And it actually helps to rewire your brain. It means that throughout our whole life, our brain is changing. And if one part of our brain becomes injured, little pathways and neurons can grow around it and actually make new pathways. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time for your brain to develop new pathways. But music actually helps the brain to develop these new pathways even faster. And now, many hospitals and clinics have what are called music therapists. I'm not a music therapist because I didn't go to school to become one. However, if you're ever interested in doing that, they do have a college degree where you can become a music therapist. Music therapists are trained to work with children using music to even help reduce their episodes of asthma. They work with hospitalized patients using music to help reduce their pain. They can work with autistic children who can't speak to actually help them to speak through using music. And as we talked about, like Alice, they can work with Alzheimer's patients to help lessen the memory loss. And they can also work with people who have had strokes or brain injuries to help them walk again. And often it's through using music as far as like the rhythmic and the tones to help stimulate their brain to grow those new pathways so that they can walk and talk, help reduce their pain. But this is the amazing thing about music, is that it helps your brain to regrow. It helps it in a way to become smarter, and it helps us in general. Alice is just one story of many stories during my nursing career. that led me to understand that music is very, very powerful and is one of the most powerful forms, in my opinion, of a healing art. So next time you put music on, or next time you play an instrument, think about what that music is doing to your brain. Think about it lighting up all over and making new connections and growing new pathways. Music is amazing. It can make us feel things, happiness or sadness. Sometimes it helps us to release emotions that need to come out. It helps us even with our motor skills and our balance and to have more coordination. It totally changes our brain. So what do you think? Do you think music came first or language came first? I don't know. There's been no decision in the scientific community. But it almost seems that music is essential to our human species. And one fun fact before I go. Did you know that archaeologists actually found a flute carved out of a mammoth tusk that dates back beyond 40,000 years? That is like way old. Earlier than any cave painting that people have found so far. Anyway, it's up to you. You decide what came first, music or language. Maybe they evolved together. But thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to talking with you again.